Which of the following items has excellent discriminative ability? A. Items 1 and 2. B. Items 2 and 3. C. Items 1 and 3. Or D. All of the above. The correct answer is letter B. Items 2 and 3. So again, item 1 doesn't make sense. Kasi pareho lang yan ha. Yung x-axis, it's ability. Yung y-axis, that's the probability of correct response. The problem with item 1 is that ikaw na lugod na hindi magaling, ikaw pa yung mas madalas tumama. So let's go back to our previous example, grade 1, high school student, mathematician. Yung grade 1 pa yung tumatama dun sa item mo. Mas mataas pa yung odds na tumama yung grade 1 at high school kesa dun sa mathematician. I mean, how can that possibly be a good item? Right? It just doesn't make sense. Item 2, again, the better you are, the more probably you can answer correctly. And item 3, at some point, you reach a certain level of competence and then pare-pareho na lang siya kahit gumaling ka over time. So, it's item 2 and 3. They can discriminate well kasi mas mataas yung chance na tumama ka kapag mas magaling ka. So, in short, malalaman mo pa rin kung sino yung hindi magaling sa magaling with item 2 and 3. And that's what discriminative ability exactly means. That's what discrimination means. Do I know kung sino magaling at kung sino hindi? Do I know who possesses this trait at kung sino ang hindi? That's discrimination. And 2 and 3 can do that. Although, of course, the best item among all these three is item 2. Question number 52. Which of the following items would be the most difficult? Meaning it has a high difficulty index. A. Item 1. B. Item 2. C. Item 3. Or D. Item 4. And the correct answer is letter D. Item 4. Why is that? What do you mean by difficult? Like high difficulty index? High difficulty index meaning marami yung tumama. Meaning the percentage of the people who got the answer correct is high. That's why it has a high difficulty index. So kung 100 kayo, 90 yung tumama. Or kung 50 kayo, 49 tumama or lahat tumama. Ngayon, as before, yung x-axis dito is the ability and yung y-axis is the probability of correct response. So, bakit item 4? Pare-pareho ang probability regardless of ability. Yung tanong, hindi mahalaga kung magaling ka sa math, kung grade 1 ka, high school ka, mathematician ka, lahat kayo tumatama. The highest one would be like, lahat kayo tama is 1.0. I mean, pare-pareho. But in this case, item 4, regardless of your ability, pare-pareho lang yung probability nyong lahat na tumama. Which means, sobrang dali nung item na mataas ang chance na tumama kayong lahat. So yun usually yung mga tanong na lahat tumatama and that means it has high difficulty index. Question number 53. Which of the following curves would have the least difficulty, low difficulty index? A. Curve A, B. Curve B, C. Both A and B, or D. Insufficient data. And the correct answer is curve B. Why is it curve B? Well, kung mapapansin nyo, pareho sila ng curve, pero magkaiba yung sa ability level. Like, mas mataas yung ability na kailangan bago magsimula yung curve ng B kesa sa A. What does that mean? Meaning, yung item sa curve B, kailangan, kunwari, grade 3 ka pa bago umangat yung probability mong tumama. Whereas with curve A, maybe grade 2, grade 1 pa lang, tumataas na yung probability mo tumama. So, mas mahirap yung curve B. Kasi mas mataas yung ability na kailangan bago siya magkaroon ng probability of success. Question number 54. The item characteristic curves are most useful on which theoretical model? A. Classical test theory. B. Generalizability theory. C. Item response theory. Or D. All of the above. And the correct answer is letter C. Item response theory. In classical test theory, it is generally assumed that all items are created equal. Mas maraming item sa classical test theory, mas maganda. Sa item response theory, it takes into account the ability of the test taker. So, dyan nyo na mapapansin kadalasan yung computerized adaptive testing. Na hindi naman kailangan talaga 100 items or 50 items yan para magkaalaman kung sino talaga yung magaling o hindi. We can just make different items with different difficulties para malaman natin kung sino ba yung talagang magaling. Siyempre, kung magaling ka, mas nasasagot mo yung mahirap na items. So, kung bigyan ka lang ng 10 item pero pahirap ng pahirap, okay na raw yun, according to item response theory. With generalizability theory naman, hindi siya ganun ka-useful kasi it's about what? Making generalizations out of the testing or the instrument. The higher the item validity index, the greater the test. A. Criterion-related validity. B. Content validity. C. Construct validity. Or D. Phase validity. And the correct answer is letter A, criterion-related validity. So what is item validity index? Basically, it is a statistic designed to provide an indication of the degree to which a test is measuring what it purports to measure. In short, it is the validity of the test, kaya lang item siya. Particular item. So therefore, mas mataas yung validity ng item, likely mas mataas yung validity niya sa criterion. So why is it not construct? Construct tells you that construct validity evidence kasi it's usually done by comparing the test with another test. Identifying the overlaps or maybe identifying if magkaiba ba talaga siya. Diyan nyo na naririnig yung convergent or divergent evidence. Content validity naman, it's about representativeness of the items. It's a logical form of validity. The same with phase validity, it's a logical form of validity. It's about, does it seem like it's measuring what it's supposed to measure? So for item validity index, it's just that it's you know, kung mas mataas yung item validity index ng test mo and it's true for all the items, more likely it has a high criterion related validity. Rex, a psychometrician, created a test for college students' level of depression. However, she forgot to include questions pertaining to the student's anhedonia. This is an example of A. Construct under representation, B. Construct irrelevant variance, C. Lack of construct validity, or D. Phase validity. And the correct answer is construct under representation. So with content validity, there are two ways it could go wrong. Dalawa yan. First is construct under representation. Construct under representation, it means yung construct mo may kulang. Alam nating lahat yan na major symptom ng depression ang anhedonia. So kung gawa ka ng depression scale nang walang anhedonia, may kulang sa test mo. Kulang ang content. Hindi niya nare-represent yung construct. Sa construct irrelevant variance naman, it means yung construct mo may walang kwenta. So let's say gumawa ka ng depression scale, tapos bigla mong tinanong, what's your favorite color? O, di ba? May walang kwenta. Unless of course you're making some projective interpretation out of that, but more likely than not, it is irrelevant. So why is it not lack of construct validity? Again, it's about what is missing in the questions. Although it may be true na, yun nga, kulang nga yung question, therefore, kulang yung construct validity. In this case, mas accurate pa rin and precise na gamitin natin yung construct under representation. So that's the correct answer. What is your name? This type of item can be found in which of the following area of the mental status exam? A. Memory, B. Identity, C. Orientation, or D. Thought content. And the correct answer is letter C. Orientation. So here, let's look at this table. Makikita nyo, try to remember because this is all about definitions. These are basically the components or areas of mental status exam. We have appearance, which is the patient's dress and general appearance. Behavior. Is anything remarkably strange about the patient's speech or general behavior during the interview? We have orientation. Well, the definitions make sense on their own, so I'll leave that up to you to study it on yourself kasi mapapahaba pa tayo pag isa-isa pa. Which of the following tests is used to examine neurological deficits? A. CDT, B. HTP, C. DAP, or D. RPM? The correct answer is letter A, CDT. So, ang CDT, that is what we call the clock drawing test. Basically, you just ask the patient or the client to draw a clock. And then, out of that, you can figure out maybe if something is missing with the drawing, walang numbers, walang lines, walang short arrow or long arrow. So, in that sense, malalaman mo na kung may neurological deficit yung patient. HTP naman and DAP, that's house 3-person and draw a person test. It's a personality test. It's kind of like a projective personality test where the clinician would interpret your drawing and deduce your personality out of that. And RPM, that is an intelligence test. Raven's progressive matrices. It's not really applied for neurological deficit because it's more on intelligence. Identifying what constitutes your intelligence, no? So, mas accurate dito yung CDT. Kasi yun talaga yung function ng test. According to Barrick et al. 2001, which of the following personality trait would be correlated with good work performance? A. Conscientiousness, B. Agreeableness, C. Neuroticism, or D. Intelligence? And the correct answer is letter A. Conscientiousness. Well, in this research, although of course you have to check the research in your books, it makes sense in a way because, kunwari, agreeableness. Let's say you are high in agreeableness. Nice guy ka. That's the nice guys in the office. But they're not necessarily performing well. And disagreeable, yan naman yung mga kupal, di ba? Yung mga lahat bad trip sa'yo. Probably mababa ang agreeableness ng taong yan. Kasi lahat bad trip sa kanya. Neuroticism naman, it's about your emotional stability. So, kung mataas ang neuroticism mo, medyo anxious ka, worry ka, and pag mababa naman is that emotionally stable ka. So, not necessarily, no? But with conscientiousness, pag mataas kasi ang conscientiousness mo, yan yung mga taong disciplined and industrious. So, yan yung mga taong always on time, gets the job done, meets their responsibility, fulfills them, sometimes go overboard. And usually, they do not stop until the task is finished. So, yan yung mga taong conscientious. And intelligence, not necessarily. Like, kahit matalino ka kasi, kung di ka naman pumapasok, low conscientiousness ka, it's likely na bumaba yung work performance mo. So, ang pinaka-accurate dito, and of course, this is research-based, as backed up by Barrick, conscientiousness siya. Which of the following tests would you use to screen for crystallized and fluid intelligence? A. Wonderlic Personal Test, B. Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale, 4, C. Stanford Binet 5, or D. 16PF? And the correct answer is letter A. Wonderlic Personal Test. Well, simple lang yan. First, you can't use Wechsler. It's an individual test. Second, you can also use Stanford Binet. It's an individual test. And third, we are asking about screening. When we say screening, it's just not the final form, no? Like, you're just, it's not very reliable and valid, but it's enough to tell you which one should qualify and which one should not. So, parang kuwari, sa screening, mapapansin mo, minsan, sa mga HR, pag may mga applicants sila, sobrang dami nilang applicants, bago pa nila replyan yung mga applicants nila, ini-screen na nila kung saang school lang galing. Maybe, kuwari, galing sa Big 4. O, kung galing kayo sa Big 4 schools, yun muna yung pinaprioritize bago nila replyan yung iba. I'm not saying na may alam ako na ganun yung practice, but that's an example of screening. Wonderlic Personal Test is a screening test that would help you identify fluid and crystallized intelligence. 16PF personality test yan, it's not about intelligence. So, what's
What's crystallized and fluid? Well, fluid intelligence, yan yung abstract intelligence muna that allows you to figure out and make sense of information. So, kung mabilis kang makagets, tapos mabilis ka natututo, mataas yung abstract thinking mo, fluid intelligence. For crystallized, yan naman yung acquired intelligence mo. So, yan na yung alam mo. So, kunwari, tinest ka sa psychology, tapos gusto nilang malaman crystallized knowledge mo sa psychology, so ganun siya. But of course, since it's an intelligence test, it's more about general ideas and general things that people should already know. Otherwise, mahirap siyang i-conduct or mahirap siyang sabihin na appropriate ba siya.